Trustees. We'll now move into open session. The board was in closed session, which no reportable action at this time. In open session today, we have one item, commencement speaker, Mr. Roach, will give staff report.
Yes, thank you, President Fellow and members of the Board of Trustees and colleagues, members of the public. I put before the Board of Trustees a recommendation that's been distributed to the public, and rather than just explain it, I'll read it out, and then the board will follow its procedure. The recommendation is as follows. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees, Governing Board of the Pasadena Area Community College District of Los Angeles County, California, authorize the Superintendent President, myself, to invite Mr. Dustin Lance Black to deliver the address at commencement on May the 9th, 2014. In the event Mr. Black is not available, the Board further authorizes the Superintendent President to conduct the 2014 commencement exercises in a manner, quote, friendly to the graduates and their families, but with no outside speaker. The Superintendent President is authorized by the Board to consult as appropriate and to make all final decisions with respect to conducting the commencement exercises in this manner. In the public item, I have included in my recommendation background. Mr. Dustin Lance Black is an alumnus of Pasadena City College class of 1994. He has distinguished himself as a film producer and a champion of equal rights and of protections for all, regardless of sexual orientation. The Board of Trustees and College Administration deeply respect Mr. Black, his work, and his causes. The Board also sincerely apologizes to Mr. Black for any actions that may have caused hurt. The Board earnestly hopes that Mr. Black will accept this invitation to speak and to begin to heal the breach in our relationship with an alumnus whom the Board greatly admires. Commencement is about celebrating the graduation of our students and the importance of higher education. Mr. Black's participation would be an opportunity for further education and a healing act of community. So signed by the Assistant Superintendents, Mr. Miller, Dr. Bell, and myself. President Fellow, you have my recommendation.
Thank you very much. Because of Brown Act regulations, of course, we only have one agenda item today, and so public comments will be only dealing with the commencement speaker. As usual, we will have 30 minutes for public comments, 3 minutes limit for people who want to speak. Ms. Watt.
Okay, I think we have about 10 speakers, so I'm going to call up 3 at a time, so please line up. First is Ariana Duffy. Second will be David Cepeda and Austin Kong.
Good evening. My name is Ariana Duffy, and I'm the Vice President of Cultural Diversity here for the Associated Students. First, I'd like to say thank you for taking the time to deliberate and make a decision on this. This was a very hard topic for all of us as students, and as associated students, we heard a lot of student voices on this. I'd just like to say that Hippocrates once said that healing is a matter of time, but it is sometimes also a matter of opportunity. When we take this opportunity, as a teaching mechanism for all of us and extend that to this campus, we begin to make a lasting change that can affect generations of PCC students and alumni. We need to start steering this campus into a positive, safe zone by introducing a cultural center that will allow for an effective model students can have in order to succeed immensely in their education and in their lives. I feel that re-inviting Dustin Lance Black was the best decision for our students here on campus, and it sets precedents for future commencements. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Board of Trustees. My name is David Cepeda. I'm here today not representing the associate students or any other clubs, but just myself. I've been a PCC student for 4 years, and I've had a lot of setbacks, obstacles, and challenges that I need to overcome. It's been a long journey, and I'm finally graduating this semester after 4 long years. I've been looking forward to the day I walk down the graduation stage wearing my cap and gown and receive my diploma. I've basically been looking forward to May 9th for 4 years. Commencement is supposed to be the greatest day of my life, and I want a speaker who will inspire me to do better things in life after I graduate. I'm sure you want someone who would motivate the students to follow their dreams and accomplish great things. I want someone who I can relate to. That's why I want to be part of the commencement speaker committee. That is why I voted yes to have Dustin Lansbach be part of the list of potential speakers. I want Dustin Lansbach to be my commencement speaker because I want to hear his story. I want to hear how Mr. Black overcame any obstacle or challenges during his time at PCC. I want to hear how a regular PCC student went on to become an Oscar-winning screenwriter. A PCC alumni with a great story to share and one this graduating class deserves to hear. I hope you'll make the right choice in selecting a speaker. This year's commencement will definitely be memorable, but I can only hope it's for the right reason. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say.
I do want to say congratulations to you for winning that scholarship last night. You're inspirational.
Please line up Sarah Belknap, Jerry Marquez, and Melissa Michelson. Mr. Cohen.
Hello, Board of Trustees. My name is Austin King, and tonight I'm not speaking as a student representative, but as a graduate of the class of 2014 for PCC. Originally coming here from Samuel High School, I was always embarrassed to say that I go to PCC. However, during my time at PCC, I've changed and grown so much through my interactions here. I've been involved in the Art Society on campus, various clubs, and now even the student government. Looking back, I would have never thought that my high school self would be this involved and motivated. Commencement is for all the students that have worked hard these past few years, and it is to congratulate our accomplishments and then to usher us into our next chapter of our life, whether it be to another transfer institution or to the workforce. It is clear that the students want Dustin Lansbach, an inspiring individual who went on to transfer to UCLA, one of the top schools in the country, as well as receive an Oscar for his work. Graduating next week, I am truly grateful to have gone to PCC, and it was one of the best choices of my life so far. I hope that you can, I thank you for inviting Dustin Lansbach, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So I'd like to start off by saying that this is an excellent first step, and I really applaud you all for having the courage to take it. I'm just really impressed and very thankful that you're reconsidering the issue and that it's on the table tonight. I really think that it would be excellent if you would consider also perhaps reaching out to the queer community on campus and including them in this apology, since Dustin Lansbach is a role model for those of us in the queer community. And he's someone who's done a lot of work for the community and who's greatly respected. And I think that there was also some hurt that was caused there, not just in the queer community on our campus, but really the larger queer community that we have in Los Angeles. And I think it would be really great if you would include them in this. And again, I'm just very happy to see that you're inviting him back. It's wonderful. Or it's on the table. So hopefully you'll be able to do that. And I think that another step that would help us as a campus community move forward is to look at how we can deal with these sorts of issues when they come up again. And I think that if we have a lot of marginalized communities on our campus, in the queer community, we have undocumented students, women, people of color, all sorts of groups that come to this campus and need a space where they can feel safe and welcomed. And unfortunately, we are all in a process of growth when it comes to issues like these. And we don't always know immediately what the right thing to say or do is. And even when we don't intend to offend or to hurt our students, these things can happen anyway, just because we're not always all up to date on these issues. So that's why I think that it'd be really important to have a student-led space, a cross-cultural center on campus, where students really can feel like no matter what happens, even if there is a mistake with the administration, even if there is a mistake with the Board of Trustees, if they don't feel supported, they know that they have a place on this campus that they can be in charge of and that they can maintain as a safe space for them. So I think that leading, that as a way to grow and heal from this, that would be a great space to offer. So I would just like to offer those. And again, thank you for bringing this back up and for revisiting the issue. I think it takes a lot of courage to do that, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jerry Marquez, and I'm not your average student. I'm 42 years old and came back to school after 24 years. I remember what it was like to be in high school and not have to hide the fact that I'm gay. So it's actually been quite the privilege to be back here and to be out, to talk about my sexuality in class and not be ashamed and not be afraid. It was very much I was looking forward to the fact that Dustin was going to speak. It was going to be kind of an affirmation for me. I get to go see one of my own, somebody that's came from my school and succeeded, and he's also gay. And when the scandal came up, it really affected me. I was really offended by the fact that the fact that his sex and his unprotected sex was an issue, because it hurt me. It made me feel like I'm some diseased individual that can only be touched through some shield of rubber, that I cannot partake in the same sexuality that heterosexuals get to. You don't look at a pregnant woman and say, oops, she had unprotected sex. It's not even brought up. So you can't separate these two things. This issue made me feel this way. And I applaud the fact that you guys made the right decision. This is something that, you guys had a choice to make a statement about either admitting that mistakes were made and doing the right thing, because we as students, we learn from that as well. We learn that it's okay to say, oops, let me make this right. And thank you guys for doing that. You're gonna help me, and you're gonna help a lot of my fellow students for doing so. Thank you.
Three speakers line up, Humberto Perez, Renee Hasertian, and Irving Morales.
Hi, I just want to say, as a faculty member here at PCC, these last few weeks I've been feeling ashamed to be affiliated with my own place of employment, a place that I consider my home away from home. I hope my college does not become a school that has a reputation of being homophobic. But thank you now for making the right choice. Thank you.
Reinviting Dustin Lance Black would not.
I'm
sorry. My name is Humberto Perez. Reinviting Dustin Lance Black would not undo the impression that the administration has given me. As a student, I should be focused on academics, but instead, I'm troubled by hearing so many students and so many teachers who are concerned with what's going on with my school. Rejecting an amazing speaker for photos that were leaked inappropriately seems like a type of victim shaming. And then inviting an open creationist afterwards has made a peculiar view for me of what's going on in my school. I would like to go to a school that was open, but instead I feel like things are not that way in the administration. I'm happy that you guys are trying to re-invite Dustin Lance Black, but it's not going to undo the satisfaction that a lot of students wanted to get from you guys. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Irving G. Morales, and I'll be the next year's Vice President for Cultural Diversity. I'm obviously not going to graduate this year, but I've seen lots of my friends that are going to graduate this year work very hard for this graduation. I believe they deserve the best commencement, which is Dustin Lance Black as the speaker. This year's commencement shouldn't be picked for his sexuality orientation, and I believe it should be picked for his work. And Mr. Dustin Lance Black is a big role model for a lot of students in this campus. We have an amazing diverse student body, and Dustin Lance Black represents a lot of students that shows how he has overcame his discrimination and is very proud of who he is. I also believe that we shouldn't just think of Dustin Lance Black, of what he has done, but what bad things obviously, but the good things he has done to win his award that he has obviously done content. I really appreciate you all for listening to what I had to say, and I'm really thankful for having you all here. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speakers to line up after this is Sarah Sarai Mojica, if I mispronounced that, I'm sorry, and then Mimi Lee.
Hi everyone, my name is Renee Sergian. I'm a queer student on campus and a former leader of Queer Alliance. We and the entire community on campus deserve a sincere apology from all of you, including Rocha and Tony Fellow. This campus claims to be a social justice college, but when in action, it enacts the same homophobic, transphobic, and prejudiced actions that other institutions do. Rocha's apology to Queer Alliance last week was entirely ingenuine due to the fact that he was the one who approved another speaker who preaches homophobia and sexism. This ordeal is just a symptom of a deeper problem at PCC. Students have come to me with stories of bullying, sexual harassment, and abuse, perpetrated either by students or faculty on campus. The response by campus officials and others is the same old victim blaming. I cannot speak for all LGBTQI students, but many of us are born into a world that silences our voices and claims our desires are pathological. The actions that you have taken have sent a message to queer students on campus that PCC is definitely not on a path of social justice. We deserve a safe space. A safe space would allow us to heal, feel safe, and develop our voices as students. Thank you.
Hello board, my name is Sarai Mojica and I've been a member of United About Boundaries for 3 years now. For those of you who don't know what United About Boundaries is, they are a club campus that empowers and supports undocumented students to succeed. United About Boundaries and I have also participated on the Safe Zone Coalition at PCC. As an undocumented queer woman of color, the PCC administration has little respect for me and students who identify as so. It seems like there's always a marginalized group on campus that gets no respect nor support from the board. I'm here to address the negligence of our communities on campus, even though PCC is supposed to be a safe space. Pasadena City College claims to help to educate its faculty and staff about LGBTQ&I and undocumented issues, but Safe Zone Coalition is not enough for students to reach out for help. A student-led campus center is desperately needed for our students to become, because new information and resources for marginalized groups surface quicker than anyone on campus can inform them, and students are missing out. As immigration becomes a much hotter topic, new legislation becomes implemented that PCC has little help outreaching to its students, especially laws that see us as human and not just think of us as workers. Our communities can easily be forgotten if we don't vocalize our concerns. Proposing a center will take time and effort, but PCC is under a lot of pressure from its students and community, and this seems like the appropriate time for the board to create something wonderful and healing that can help repair the damages that have done to us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mimi Lee, and I stand in solidarity with my queer friends at PCC, and it is my wish that you listen to all of us, even though some of us aren't exactly sugarcoating our words, and I hope you will listen to what the students want. And I'm grateful that you have approved to re-invite Dustin Lance Black, but also I ask that you reconsider your recommendation that in the event that Dustin Lance Black is not accepted or invited, that there will be no speaker. I don't know how the students will take that. They may feel like, oh, because we don't have Dustin Lance Black and we complain that we will get no speaker at all. And I hope that you will reconsider that and maybe choose another positive peer role model for the students. Thank you.
Thank you. The action for the board at this time, which is the board of trustees.
I'd like to make a motion.
Like second.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we invite Mr. Black to be our commencement speaker if he is available. And the terms that are in this, the proposed terms that are in this recommendation that we got are acceptable to me.
I'll second that.
We have a motion for Mr. Ross and a second for Mr. Frazier. Further discussion? Mr. Martin.
For clarity of the motion, it might be helpful if the mover and second agreed to move acceptance of the administration's recommendation. Because there are specific A and B plans articulated in this, and I wasn't sure if in that motion, without accepting the administration's recommendation, that we're covering all options.
Right, that would include the eventuality that he's not available.
Yes. That's agreeable with the mover and the second.
Further discussion? If not, we'll...
May I ask questions?
Well,
In the event that there is no, this Mr. Black does not accept, and then considering what was comments from the students, would it be, did we exhaust all of the speakers from the list and everyone, or we have not yet contacted all the speakers? Would that be a possibility?
I imagine it would be a possibility. I'm not sure at this time what the availability of those speakers are.
Sure, it would be
I
late.
think and I do think that my recommendation to the board was based on consultation with many leaders, including students, on campus. So I think certainly the motion gives the superintendent president discretion to act in the best interest of the college. We wanted to try and make clear what that would look like. As a practical matter, if Mr. Black cannot come, and the board authorizes me to invite him directly from me on behalf of the college, as a practical matter, it would probably be difficult to get any of the other speakers on the approved list, and I would not recommend to the board that we take a speaker off the list at this time. And that in the event, my sense, although I do have some discretion, my sense of this sentence that says the superintendent president is authorized by the board to consult as appropriate and to make all final decisions with respect to conducting the commencement exercises, is that I would consult as appropriate. I would consult associated students, the student trustee, and consult the faculty, the Senate, and as quickly as ever I may. But I may not get there. Mr. Black may accept. So I'll cross that bridge when it comes to it, but as a practical matter, this being now Thursday morning, that by the time I get through that, the contingency plan, we wouldn't have much time for it.
I want to leave that to your discretion, obviously, and you know best to guide the board on this.
And I put that in my recommendation simply because there would not be sufficient time to come back to the board for another meeting for approval. So I do think, again, the sense of my recommendation to the board and the moved and seconded is that you're authorizing me to go out directly, me and only me, to communicate directly to Mr. Black what our invitation and to try and get him to accept. If he can't, for any reason, then we will move forward, as I say here, consult with our colleagues and students, and conduct commencement exercise that will be friendly to the graduates, which is most important, and the graduates' families.
Thank you, Dr. Richard.
Right, yes, as a maker of the motion, I just want to clarify briefly and concisely here. If Mr. Black is not available, decided to use the language here that we're not going to have a speaker. It is too late to get anybody else. I mean, let's not fool ourselves. It's too late to get anybody else. And I don't want to go through this another time.
Let's have clarification. It says, but with no outside speaker, that is the motion, as I understand it. Are we in agreement on that?
That's what I was.
Firstly, I hope that all commencement exercises are friendly to our graduates. Otherwise, we may have some trouble. I want to thank the administration for bringing this forward. I think this is the right thing to do. I think that this is the appropriate measure for us to take. I think that the comments that the students have made have been heard, and I'm very appreciative of that. So I'm very happy to have been the second to this, and that this be the plan moving forward.
Thank you. Further discussion? Okay,
Yes, I have a point I would like to make. I'm a little concerned that we make sure and recognize everyone's right and respect everyone's right for diversity. Dr. Walsh, who withdrew for scheduling conflict, has served on the Presidential Advisory Commission on AIDS and is a nationally recognized speaker on social justice issues. I think and he also seems to be a conservative Christian. I think we should respect everyone's religious rights, and unless we have some evidence that they extend beyond the appropriate sphere. I think what a person says in their church is not necessarily what they would say at a commencement address. I've heard Dr. Walsh speak many times, and I've never heard him articulate anything that was not in the best interest of public health. In fact, he's a groundbreaker and has actually identified violence as a public health issue and is doing a tremendous amount of work nationally to try to stop the tide of violence, particularly against young people and people of color. So I hope that in fighting for one's own rights, that we not do that at the expense of someone else. And the other thing I would like to say was that 2 or 3 of us heard Mr. Black speak at the CCC conference in November. I had the opportunity to meet him. I was very impressed. He gave a very excellent speech. I was very pleased that he was a PCC alum. We were delighted when we found out that he was from Pasadena and that he had received an Academy Award, that he wrote Milk, which is a tremendous movie, and the room was ecstatic. We all jumped to our feet and applauded him. So, I think he's going to be a great speaker. It's going to be a great commencement. But I think we need to be very, very careful that we make sure we respect everyone and have a sense of occasion.
Thank you very much.
I want to echo what Dr. Mann has said about Dr. Walsh. I was at a meeting last evening where he spoke, and he was outstanding. He's articulate, he's knowledgeable. He talked about the relationship between education and poverty and other things, and was very, very well received, very thoughtful. And so I think that this unfortunate criticism of him based on his religious views really ought to have no place in the discussion here. I think that's extremely unfortunate, and it's just not acceptable that he's going to end up being not only criticized, but have something happen to him that should never have happened. We've been very, very fortunate, very, very well served with him had he been the commencement speaker. I'm concerned with the process we've gone through on this. I don't think it could have been more bungled if we had set out intentionally to do that. This is a good lesson how not to do things. Certainly going forward, we have to change the policy, we have to change the procedures, and make it clear as to who it is that is really authorized to invite, as opposed to determine the availability of a special speaker for commencement or another event at this college. But I also want to make it real clear that decisions initially about Mr. Black had nothing to do with homophobia. It had to do with other things that Dr. Bell put forth in his memorandum of April 2nd. And we have had commencement speakers here who known gay individuals in the past. So that's not something that we have to be criticized for. Had nothing to do with the decision, the commentary, the discussions about Mr. Black.
By saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion has carried. At this time, I just want to make one little comment. We have Mr. Zepeda here. I thought the President's Hispanic Advisory Scholarship Dinner last night was one of the best things I've attended at Pasadena City College.
using him.
Our world is a mess, but I came away thinking it's in good hands with these documented, undocumented students who have great futures ahead of them, and made me feel good. And what doesn't make me feel good is that we're adjourning in memory this evening of the mother of Gail Cooper, our attorney, who died last week, and our prayers go out to the family. This meeting's adjourned.